Okay, so yeah, here I wrote out the fourth dimension of you know fourth dimensional science, physical sciences, methodologies, conceptualization, blah 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 blah. This is why English has a problem. As soon as all the realities start to like merge, it's like, okay, which wording do you use and which context do you think you're using it in it, but like the person thinks it'll be in another context because people assume a lot, and then it's like you have to do all these like mental calculations for all these like micro transgressions or whatever. So the liberals were like right about that, but it's like, well, yeah, they're right. You should just like not care about those micro transgressions then, because it's like it's just computationally wasteful to do so. It's like it'll just stress you out. So you just like, that's why I'm like, okay, adopt meme verse logic, because essentially that's what we've been doing the whole time, and I think that's really funny, because it's like, okay, well, at 4.0 you're aware of quantum physics, you're aware of like spooky action at a distance, the observation, how you can't like fully observe the quantum, but you can have an approximation of its location or something. Okay, but 4.1 is like cognitive dissonance, because it's like, well, once you realize this, it's like, and then your population is like, okay, well, what relevance does that have? I'm gonna like retreat back to like third dimensional worldly desires or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, you had to consider hypotheticals. You had to be like, okay, well, let's see the spooky action at a distance. Like, what could we actually do with this? And you start like testing. You use a scientific method. Where did people go astray? Like, this is all you needed to do. The 420, 4.20. You just had to like experiment with quantum entanglement, and then you would have found out that, hey, you can do neural physics after you do the fifth dimensional physics, like fifth state of matter kind of crap. You start to like backfill your knowledge, and you're like, wait, I could use this to do this other thing, and then that's essentially how it works. But people they just stagnate. They just stop. I don't know why. Anyways, I'm gonna write like, I think 11 books or grimoires or whatever, which is what my friend told me to do. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll do that. First one is executive function. Okay, hold on. Okay, I got you, fam. I didn't make you sit out the whole writing out this time. I just did it. Okay, so executive function is going to be the first, which starts at 0.5 U. Okay, U is just a modifier that denotes that you understand the universe is complex. You've accepted physics already as like the scientific way to explain these things. Like, basically, you're not a science denialist. That's what the U modifier means. Otherwise, you're still looking at it as like binary, 2D, which is writing and language and like drawing and like things you do on 2D surfaces. 3D is the physical, which is why it's actually the third grimoire. It's like in between. See, if you have to get to 0.5 to even come to understanding of this, because if you just understand 0.4, or just like the 1, 2, 3, fourth dimensional physics, if you're just aware of it, but you never ask, what can I do with this, you're never going to get to the fifth. So if you solve quantum physics and you got to the fifth, good job, because now you can start like considering, okay, 15th dimensional physics. Oh, and then also it's like 0.5, the modifier U. It's like, once you, like I said, once you accept that, okay, it's just this dimension, this dimension, this dimension, it just keeps going. So you have to like start like condensing it, otherwise it's gonna get crazy. Like 420 dimensional science, whether we could just say like 42.0 U, but even that would be insane. So it's like there'd be like more modifiers, obviously. And then uh, on my Twitter, I put, hold on. Okay, yeah. On my Twitter, I put the 1.1 lowercase h, uppercase u. Because lowercase h, because uh, the humanity just doesn't deserve to have the uppercase h, because uppercase is like more hardline type. It's more like dominant. And so I was like, okay, the universe is always dominant because created by God, blah blah blah. But humanity it comes first, but it's not dominant over the universe because it's in the universe, right? I don't know if that makes sense to you. And then like the books, the grimoires are gonna be like on the subject of humanities. So like once you get past all of these, which I'm gonna have 11 of, then you're gonna be able to come to this understanding. So this is actually very early in my developing of my entire thing. So I'm gonna have to be working, but like the more resources I have and like the better my schedule becomes, I guess. Instead of me having like to frantically tweet out some things, um, I'm just gonna work on this more now because I want to work more on this so I can actually like because I used to have a better physical appearance. I used to be actually more like girl like, but I had to go back to go forward. So I went back into like negative health space into like where people gaslit me into being like, oh no, you're a guy more. And I'm like, okay, well I've already been here, so I know that's not true. You're the one that's gaslit right now. I'm trying to help you, and I'm trying to bring everyone back down to where I was at. So basically, going through hell on Earth for Mars' sake is what I said.